Hi, and welcome to Haunted AF, the podcast of real ghost stories told by real people. We are your hosts. I'm Julie Fisk.
And I'm Rebecca Black, and welcome to our surprise episode.
Surprise! Yeah, we said we would come back whenever we had enough good stories to share, and we do.
That was quick.
I know.
I like that.
But before we go any further, quick reminder that yes, we will keep posting episodes when we have enough good stories. So please keep sending them. The email address is hauntedafpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you haven't become a Haunted AF patron yet, we have several years worth of exclusive content over there. Plus, we give away free merch sometimes, just like we did this week in the pregame. Go become a patron at patreon.com/hauntedaf, like Lindsay Crow and Megan Searle. Hello, ladies.
Hi, guys.
Also, we're going to send some love to Dana Houston, Jamie Hernandez, Dennis Wicker, and Tony Mauger, who just became annual patrons. Again, that's that's patreon.com/hauntedaf.
We should also say hi to anybody who is just now finding the podcast from the Kelly Clarkson show. They apparently did a rerun of our episode.
I had no idea.
I know, me neither, but I noticed there was a spike in listens, and then a few people were like, hey, I'm coming from the Kelly Clarkson show.
Awesome.
So that's really nice. Also, we need to say hi to Bridget Lancaster from America's Test Kitchen.
Yes, we do.
Yes, because on my other podcast, the food podcast I produce for the Dallas Morning News, we interviewed Bridget right before Thanksgiving. And before we could even get started, she was like, by the way, I'm a big Haunted AF fan.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. So I like brown pants right there in the studio over it. So we are going to try to get her on the podcast at some point.
Oh my gosh.
She's
amazing.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She's super cute. So I bet she's got a ghost story. We should start with a video that we shared recently from Nick and Rebecca of their daughter Chloe playing peekaboo with someone who isn't there. You remember this one?
Who are you playing peekaboo with?
Nick says that the activity started not long after they moved into their new house, where they also feel tugs on their shirts and they have a musical snow globe that goes off on its own. So he wondered if it might be connected to a recently deceased family member because the activity seems to respond when he calls it that person's name.
Interesting.
Which I always feel like, because, usually when the stuff gets going, it'll be like, get out, you're not supposed to be here.
Sure.
But if it's grandma, you're going to be less likely to do that.
Agreed.
So they're like, yeah, I'm grandma, whatever. But they just moved into a new house.
That is true. But did the snow globe, I wonder, did it belong to someone who recently passed?
I don't know. We'll have to. Nick, Rebecca, if you're listening, please give us any more details. Speaking of which, we also got a creepy kid story from Ashley.
Hi, ladies. So I have in the last week experienced two instances where my children have said something that is possible that they've had a ghostly experience. So the first one, my daughter and I went to visit my grandmother. My grandmother lives alone. My grandfather died when I was 17 years old. So my daughter has never met him. And we walked together into my grandmother's bedroom, and on the wall there is a portrait of him and her, my grandma and grandpa, when he was older. He in the portrait, he looks very similar to what he did when he passed away. We walk in, and my daughter looks up at the wall, and she goes, I know him. I love him. And I said, oh, that's my grandpa. I was like, he died before you were born. And she goes, I met him. I know him. And then just walked away. So I don't know if my grandfather has come and visited my daughter. It's kind of comforting to think that he might have. So the second thing that happened within this week, this morning around 6:30, my son comes downstairs and he comes into our bedroom and says that he was scared. And we asked what happened, and he said that he was woken up by hearing creaking out in the hallway. And then he heard his sister knock on his door and whisper his name. But the thing is that his sister had been in our bed since around 3 a.m. So she was not upstairs when this happened. And I asked him, I said, was it in the middle of the night that you heard that, thinking that maybe she had tried to go to his room before she came to our room? But he said, no, I just woke up from the creaking and that I heard that and it scared me. So that's why I came downstairs. So after he left for school this morning, I did go upstairs to his room and strongly command any spirits or entities to leave our house. So we will see how that plays out and if he hears anything else.
Okay, so I told Ashley we were going to use her story
Mhm.
because she sent this in a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And I asked if there had been any more activity. And she said yes.
Of course she did.
Yes, so she sent this back.
Okay, she said this past weekend, my son came to our room at 6:45 a.m., which is really early for him.
Oh, he's 5 years old, by the way.
Okay, so 6:45 is early for anybody. Let's be real.
Yeah.
He said he was scared because he got up to use the bathroom. And when he was walking back to his room, he saw someone walking into his room. When I asked what he saw, he described them as kind of black and blurry. Needless to say, I'm about to sage this house.
Yeah, girl, get on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hardcore.
So we always love a really good glitch in the matrix story. And this might be like the main reason we're doing a surprise episode right now, because I saw the story from someone named Laura on Real Life Ghost Stories on their Facebook page, Emma's Real Life Ghost Stories. So Laura posted, deep cleaning my bathroom and found my ring, which would be great if I wasn't already wearing it.
Oh!
Same size as mine and found in the place that I always put it when I have a bath. Seriously creeped me out as I've ever only had one of these rings and I've had it for so many years I've lost count. We are living in a simulation and this is a glitch in the matrix. Parallel universe me wants her ring back. So she posted pictures of the rings and showed how there was even damage to the prongs in the same places.
That is freaking creepy.
Yeah, she even took it to the ring place, the dealer where she bought it. And he was like, this is the same brand, the same ring. So she says she lives alone with her dachshund. And the only other person who has access to her house is her mom, who lives 4 hours away. Because everybody was jumping in and they said, well, obviously your husband bought a second ring or he lost it or he thought he lost it. Right. So everybody, but they were like, she said, no, this is my ring.
Yeah.
Nobody else has access to my house. So
that's like,
isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's a great story.
Yeah. So then everybody starts jumping in with their own glitch in the matrix stories.
Just like this one from Jessica. This has totally happened to me before, but with my kids' underwear. A totally new pair appeared that was exactly the same as the others.
Oh, that's really weird.
Yeah. Or this other one here that comes from Molly. I had a glitch where I was putting together my daughter's bed frame and dropped the hex key. It just disappeared. I couldn't find it anywhere. Gave up looking and got another one. Continued to put the bed together and I heard something jingle inside the leg of the bed. I pull it apart and there, inside the sealed leg, was the hex key. No possible way for it to have fallen into that sealed leg.
Dang.
What?
I do have this thing though, whenever I drop something, it just disappears.
I do too,
Yeah.
but then I never ever recover it.
Yeah. It
Definitely
just,
isn't it jingling around in a leg somewhere.
yeah. I know it as soon as I drop, I'm like, I'm never seeing that shit again.
Right.
It's gone.
Okay, so we have another one, and this one's from Debbie. Years back, my hubby lost a sentimental watch. We turned the place upside down and it was gone. Fast forward 6 months, and we're watching TV in the living room, and I feel what I thought to be the remote control fall onto my leg from the armrest. I looked down, and there was his watch resting on my leg. He fell out with me when I gave it to him, saying I had been hiding it. To this day, I cannot explain where it came from. That chair had been tipped up and given a good search months back.
Oh my God.
How does that happen if we aren't living in a matrix?
Okay.
I remember when we used to make fun of this. The more I hear it, I'm like, we're in a simulation.
We're just totally in a simulation.
100%.
So then somebody screenshot a story that said, a couple years ago, my husband was watching football and complained that he was starting to need glasses to watch the game properly. The next day, we came home from work to find a random pair of spectacles sitting on the coffee table.
What?
Though no one had been in the house that day. They were quite old-fashioned and definitely not something anyone I know would wear. My husband, who is a complete skeptic, was totally freaked out when he put them on and could see the TV perfectly.
Stop it right now. It's like a dang video game where he was like, I need glasses. Ding, 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 ding. And then they came.
So he still uses them at night, but they are now referred to as the ghost glasses.
Wow. Wow. That's
Oh,
fantastic.
I meant to show you this video because I'm afraid you didn't get to see this. Did you see the one that we posted on Instagram from Real Life Ghost Stories?
I don't think so.
What the fool? Why are they all not moving? What? What is happening right now? Babies? Chickens! Did I do something? Nick! What the? Oh my God!
That is
Sorry.
a long time that they're frozen.
So some people were saying maybe there was a hawk nearby or something.
Have you ever seen a chicken freeze?
I have never seen anything like that before. And some of them, their little feet were up. Even.
Yeah, like I saw one that had like one toe down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not normal.
Yeah. They're like freeze and they all just froze
That's wild.
for a really, really long time. So before our last story, just want to remind everybody that the deadline to order merch, Haunted AF merch, and get it in time for Christmas is December 10th. So giving podcast merch to the podcast fan in your life is a really good thing to do,
Yes,
Rebecca.
it is. Yes,
really,
it is.
It really is.
It's like Small Business Saturday. Support us.
Yes, it really is. You're supporting a podcast, especially an independent podcast like us. But at the same time, you're telling that person who's a podcast fan, like, hey, I know what you like.
Exactly.
I pay attention to you
Yeah.
and I care. So you can find all of our good merch at hauntedaf.com in the online store.
And we're also working on a Krampus t-shirt right now. So if you're a graphic designer and maybe you want to help us out, please send us a message, hauntedafpodcast@gmail.com.
Because I don't think I'm going to be able to draw a Krampus. Can you?
No, but I can steal one.
Get to work on
From
that.
Canva.
All right. So our final story comes from Katie.
Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Julie. Absolutely love your podcast. I been listening for a long time now. I just want to start off as well by saying that I had a stroke 5 years ago. So sometimes I get my words mixed up. So if you need anything clarifying, if something sounds strange, just let me know. I've always been a believer of ghosts, but the story I want to tell you is what I would consider my be-all, end-all, that ghosts are real. There really is something else on the other side, and no one's ever going to tell me any different because this experience for me is just, it is all the proof I need. My family, all of my family on my dad's side have always been very open about, spirits and things like that. We live in Wales, so there's just a lot of folklore, a lot of that kind of thing. But also my dad's side of the family are Irish, and a lot of them are big believers. A lot of them talk about hearing the wailing banshee when they were in Ireland. My dad also recalls going over to his aunties and, they get the board out. And now I'm older, I understand that was actually a Ouija board. So yeah, so like I say, we live in Wales, and my sister lives on a street of old terraced houses. It's the old mining houses. A few doors up from her was an elderly gentleman. He was a lovely guy, and we always used to call him Shakin' Stevens because there's a Welsh singer-songwriter called Shakin' Stevens, and they had the same haircut. So he was a lovely guy. He was always stood outside, just having a cigarette, just watching the world go by. Just a lovely guy. One night I was going over to my sister's to watch the boxing, and it was the sort of like beginning of December. And I don't know if you know anything about Wales at all, but in December it gets dark about 4 p.m. and then stays dark till about 8 a.m. and it rains just constantly.
Wow.
But I drove over to my sister's and I parked just outside this guy's house, and I could see him through the windshield, but the rain was hammering down on the windshield. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, he looks really ill. Like, he's bone white. I got out of the car, walked directly past him. I did kind of thought to myself, like, he's only got a vest on, so his arms were exposed, and it seemed strange, but it wasn't that strange to see him stood outside either. And he was smoking a cigarette, and the rain was coming down, so I didn't want to stand there talking to him. So as I walked past him, and I'm barely a foot away from him, and I just sort of smile and say hello in that British way where you kind of just smile. And as he was taking a drag of his cigarette, he kind of stopped and he's staring at me, and I'm smiling at him, like probably look like an idiot by this point. But he's staring at me as if in complete shock. Like, his face says that he can't believe he's seeing me. So I'm looking at him, and I'm starting to get a bit freaked out because it's like, why are you looking at me like this? And this was after I'd had a stroke. So kind of like spooked me a little bit. So sort of hurried on into my sister's. I didn't, as I say, I didn't say anything, didn't do anything, just went into my sister's. The following week, I went to pick my sister up and she got into the car and she said, "Oh, I got some really sad news. Shakin Stevens has passed away." So I was like, "Oh, that's really sad." I said, "I feel bad now. I wish I'd spoken to him the last time I saw him." She's like, "Well, when was the last time you saw him?" And I was like, "Well, last week when I came over for the boxing." And she went, "What?" So she got her phone out and she found the text and the date was there. She was like, "Katie passed away 2 weeks ago." And it was a proper like, what? When we're in the car and we're just like in disbelief and we're going back and forth trying to corroborate the dates and times. And even now when I think back on it, I just think like, yeah, that is absolute proof that there is something the other side. And sometimes when we pass away, maybe we just come back just to do the thing we love just one last time. But that is my story. So thank you so much for your podcast. I've really, really enjoyed it. I had a stroke about 5 years ago and I lost the ability to speak. So your podcast and many other podcasts, just having them in my ear all the time, it just helped me remember how to speak again. So yeah, really thankful. And you guys definitely kept me company when I was learning to walk again and just learning to laugh again, I suppose, just learning to do everything. So thank you very much and hope to see some more episodes soon. Thanks all.
Oh, Katie.
Oh my gosh.
That was beautiful.
That was. And to like give us a little bit of credit for that is the sweetest thing ever.
I know. Gosh, thank you.
Oh. Also, what a great story.
I know.
Shakin Stevens. I love it.
And he looks kind of like David Hasselhoff. I had to look him up, kind of like an older dude, but like
that makes me even happier.
I know, but I love it. It's like, so he came back so he could stand in the rain and smoke a cigarette.
I mean, is that so bad?
No, I mean, why not?
Right.
What would you do?
I would not be in the rain. I can tell you that right now. My ghost hair can't handle it.
I might smoke a cigarette, but I'd be like standing in somebody's shower. I'd just be doing random shit.
Like, yeah, I'm definitely going to scare somebody on the toilet.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
is my plan.
Absolutely.
By the way, we're going to share the top 10 haunted AF stories of 2023. We're going to do that on New Year's Eve. So if you've got a favorite that you think should absolutely be included, please let us know. You can email us that if you want to, hauntedafpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you want to record yourself saying, "Hey, I really want this." Yeah, because we would love to use your voices for those.
Intro it.
Yes, absolutely. And remember, we are going to post new episodes anytime we have enough good news stories to share. So it's on you. This is on you.
No guilt there.
Yeah, write it down, record it, send those stories to hauntedafpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll use them on the next Haunted AF.